Just another brother with another humble question. Just another brother with another humble question.
Welcome to A Brother with Questions. I am your host, B. Period. Appreciate you for joining me. Man, we're going to be reacting to this video. They're talking, Miss Karen Hunter, man. The Karen Hunter Show comes on Sirius XM Urban Radio. Go check her out, man. She does good stuff over there. But today we're going to be reacting to her comments about the P. Diddy house raid that just happened a couple days ago now. And so we're going to listen into this conversation. Please like, subscribe to the channel. If you like what you see, give us a comment too. Tell me what you think about the video. Tell me what you think about the story. Let us know what you're thinking, man. But let's dive into this conversation.
And boats and with machine guns. It was a lot. And it was predictions all along. And it's weird. Only Gene Deal, I remember just saying stuff like 10, 15 years ago, vocally out loud. Nobody really listened to him until now. But now everybody's snitching. Everybody's talking. And just one question, where were you? Full disclosure.
And that's the thing. Every time some of these stories like this comes out, that's always the question I have. Like she said, Gene Deal, for those that don't know, Gene Deal, if I remember right, he was a former bodyguard of P. Diddy. And so he's been having conversations about what's been going on over there for years. And everybody ignored him because I guess he was a disgruntled employee. I guess so he was dismissed. Or perhaps he just wasn't, or perhaps they were paying people off to keep his stories quiet. I don't know what they were doing, but yeah, he's been saying this kind of stuff for years. And then, of course, now that the cat's out of the bag anyway, or at least the authorities involved, now everybody's got a story. Everybody got a story about a party they went to, or a time they was hanging out, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And I just hate that kind of reflective storytelling. To me, if you felt like something was wrong or whatever the case, man, tell it in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like if you ain't telling it in the moment, then don't keep it to yourself. And because the stories that are coming out now, I mean, yes, there's a few women, but we hear men tell stories. And these ain't even the men that were quote unquote involved. These are the men that were seeing stuff. So like as a man and you were seeing stuff and now you want to tell it because the cat's out of the bag. Well, nah, if you was a man, you should have told this story in the moment to let people know instead of hiding people's secrets and then wait until everybody else, until the exposure happens. And now you got everything to say. Come on, man. That's just foul. Either keep it to yourself or tell the truth in the moment. But this reflective truth telling, man, gets me. I just don't understand.
Sure. I've been covering hip hop. I covered hip hop while I was on the editorial board, while I was also, covering business for the New York Daily News, because I like the music. So the music director, Jim Farber, never covered it. So he was like, go cover it. And I made an extra $300 to each story. So it was good. Little coin. I get free CDs. I get invited to the concerts and everything. It was a beautiful, beautiful thing. I actually did pieces on everyone from Faith Evans to Total to, of course, Puffy Diddy's house, everything. The publicist loved me. And then came the shooting at Club New York. At that time, I was a news columnist. And I got a call from a lawyer who said his client was shot in the face in Club New York and that Diddy had a gun. So I was called that morning.
That's interesting. She's telling the story here about when she was a writer, because for those that don't know, Karen Hunter comes from journalism, so she used to be a writer, as she was just mentioning. And so she wrote a story about the shooting. That's when Diddy and Shine and Jennifer Lopez were all at the club. And ultimately, Shine took the fall for this, and Diddy walked away scot-free. But she said she wrote a story detailing how there were witnesses that put the gun in Diddy's hand at the time.
by the publicist, whose name I will not mention on these airwaves, primarily because it's irrelevant to the story, but also she's not doing well. So I'm not piling on. It's not about her, but she wanted to invite me to a turkey. It was around the holidays. Puffy was giving out turkeys in Harlem. Will you come and cover it? And I said, sure. That was that morning. That afternoon, I got the call, and I'm in the lawyer's office with the lady with the bandaged face who had been shot, detailing everything that happened that night. And it was very clear that Puffy had a gun. I also interviewed the getaway driver who confirmed this. This ran as a front page piece in the New York Daily News. I was excoriated. I also covered the trial, and I was hemmed up in court by several people. One person y'all all know because they've been responsible for now, because they've had a change of heart, I guess, doing documentaries on R. Kelly and other people who are problematic. But I was cornered in the courthouse for this piece that I did. Like, how dare I? For the culture, how dare you?
See, there it is right there. How dare you tell the truth? Why would you tell the truth about this man? Because it's the truth. If we can't tell the truth, then what are we telling? If you can't be honest about who people are, what are you doing? I mean, you got all of the stories. I mean, like I said, with Shine took the fall. He did, I think it was 10 years in prison because he said he had the gun. Diddy got away scot-free in the matter. And here she has a story detailing how he definitely had a gun that night. But the record book said it was Shine. Record book say it was Shine. That's so interesting.
Try to destroy a black man. I was getting all of that heat, like I'm a sellout. I'm like, if he shot a lady in the face, I'm supposed to ignore that? I'm sorry, this eyewitness. I'm a journalist. So I've never been on the Puffy boat. I've always known that there was something off about him. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying that because I've been pretty vocal. Now, I don't want to get sued, so I ain't say too much, but at the end of the day, now here we are, and everything is coming out. When the feds roll in, they pretty much know that something. They're not just wasting all the federal dollars for nothing,
And that's the thing that makes this so intense. Like, what is the Fed conviction rate? Like 98%, 99%, something like that. So pretty much when they have a case, they don't pull cases until they know all of the details that are either going to, one, convict you in court. But I believe a lot of the Fed cases don't even go to court. They settle out of court on some charge, whatever charge they settle on. But they obviously that counts as a conviction because you take whether it's a lesser charge or you take all of the charges that they're putting up against you. But at the end of the day, that is a conviction. So when they show up and they're raiding the house, they're pretty convinced of what either one, what they're looking for, or two, what they know is going to be there. So they're showing up to pull it out. And if you saw any of the videos, I'm not sure which one of the houses his sons were at. I think it was Miami. But they obviously pulled the sons out of the house and made them stay outside while the police or the FBI went in the house and did the raid and everything like that, and then released them once they were done. So pretty serious stuff. So I'm very curious to see what comes of this. But for a second, we're going to get into one of the reasons why I wanted to pull this particular video.
When the feds roll in, you got a real problem. There was video, TMZ catches everybody, of Puffy at the Miami airport pacing around. Two of his children got hemmed up and handcuffed yesterday. I'm not laughing because it's really not funny, but I'm wondering what is their role in it. They're grown men, by the way. They're not children. All of them are over the age of 20. I think the youngest one is 25. I think Justin is 30. These are grown men. I don't know what was going on at this house that the feds rolled up. They also got somebody at an airport, apparently a drug trafficker, also 25-year-old man who was recently accusing Sean Combs of sexual impropriety. He's been arrested as a quote unquote drug mule on Monday. Cocaine, marijuana possession charges, arrest records obtained by Rolling Stone. His name is Brendan Paul, taken into custody at.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Like you said, you got the drug mule. At least what they're saying is the drug mule. also arrested as well. He was at the airport when they arrested him. So crazy, wild accusations. And even if you go through some of the affidavits that Cassie released, of course, she settled her case already. And then the producer, Rodney Jones, I want to say his name is, both documents just got crazy, wild stories and accusations about their time with Diddy there.
Miami-Dade, the dozens of Homeland Security agents. This is serious. Okay. Homeland Security. They seized stuff at his Miami home, his Los Angeles home, as part of a federal sex trafficking investigation led by Homeland Security. This is not unserious.
Right. And that's the key idea. The raid that they're doing, because a lot of people are talking about the idea that he was having these sex parties and ultimately having sex with men, or at least other men having sex with men. But the feds are looking for trafficking. You know what I'm saying? The feds are looking for trafficking. They're not worried about men having sex with other men. They are talking about trafficking. So you know it's serious when the feds are looking at a trafficking case.
Thoughts and prayers, ladies. We are joined by Dr. Caretha Mitchell. Of course, Kyla Janae Lacey is here as well.
The first thing I have to say is this is a perfect example of how American culture will teach you, if you don't know how to question the lessons you're getting, American culture will teach you that the point of power is to dominate. The point of power is to be able to dictate what happens in other people's lives. It is not to make more opportunity and more life and more liberation for other people.
Okay. And here is where this video went left for me. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to react to this video. Listening to this lady, respectfully, she's a doctor, talk about how this is an example of how American culture teaches you that power is meant to dominate. Like, first of all, which is in essence her blaming this on lessons from the white man is ultimately what this boils down to, which I was like, come on, man, this is absolutely ridiculous. First of all, can we be honest? Okay. The power dynamic that was started in America is the same power dynamic that has existed in the world for decades. The emperors and the kings in Africa displayed the same type of power over people whom they deemed the power they could deem this power over. Even in the Bible, you think about a person like David, he exuded the same type of power over people. So this is not some unique American thing that, once again, we need to blame the white man for a black man acting some way. No, we don't need to blame a white man. This was this man. This is this man. This man is old enough, is educated enough, if you will, to have seen others and then make a different decision for himself. And so obviously we're all talking about accusations, but if any of the accusations are true, this is him. This is how he decided he wanted to do his life. This has nothing to do with America. Stop blaming everything on the white man. What does that got to do with anything here?
And so in so many ways, this is an example of someone who is following in the footsteps of our so-called founding fathers of the United States, who were sexual predators.
And she said that like she said a bar. He is following in the footsteps of the founding. What? How about he was following in the footsteps of Genghis Khan? How about he was following the footsteps of the of some African tribes, right? It escapes me right now. I know the name of the movie was The Woman King, but it escapes me on what the particular tribe was that was being depicted in the movie, because that same tribe is responsible for conquering Africans in different cities and then forcing the women of those the cities that they conquered to be a part of either the concubine or be a part of this woman army that they had. So how is that any different? How is that any different than what the American forefathers did? They're the same. Power can corrupt. Period. Not everybody with power is corrupted, but power corrupts certain people. And he is just another example, if any of these accusations are true, of power corrupting a person. It has nothing to do with the history of this country. It has everything to do with the history of powerful men. Power, in this case, dictated by the amount of money you have, dictated by the amount of influence you have, taking advantage of that influence, and then using it in a negative way. But the forefathers, everything. I'm telling you, you can't blame everything on the white man. Sometimes we got to accept that this is just who people are.
I think what was interesting, what you said, is terms of like the courtroom and how like, oh, you know, you're trying to bring another Black man down. And I think it's like really interesting how we're groomed to protect people who go out of their way to harm us, right? Like who've done very, very awful things, but because they're Black men, we're supposed to, you know, allow it or just ignore it, even especially if it harms us. That's what I don't understand.
You said,
and there's a truth to that. There is a truth to, as Black people, we do have a tendency. I noticed it in the story I was reading, or in the comment section of a story I was reading today. And the first comment that I saw was at least her profile picture is of a Black woman anyway. But her comment was that she was upset that people were trying to take him down. And she in her particular comment, she blamed Cassie for bringing her lawsuit against him, and then basically establishing that she must not have been strong enough because she should have just walked away. And it's like, really? You're gonna this young lady, you know, again, if you go back and you read that affidavit, when you think about everything that she says she endured, and then the first thing you think of is to say, well, you should have been strong enough to walk away so that you didn't get abused or whatever for 10 years. Like, are you kidding me? You know, that's part of the problem, is that we let things go because there are people benefiting from from what's going on. So just like in the R. Kelly situation, there were tons of people who benefited over the years and profited over the years from everything that they say he was doing, right? But it didn't become a problem until the money wasn't flowing as fast as it used to be. And then it was all of a sudden it was a problem, right? I don't know what DP Diddy situation is here. And so I don't know if people are speaking out because the money's not flowing like it used to. But if we're not, again, this reflective honesty, it has to stop. Let's stop these men in their prime, if you will, and before it gets out of hand. And that's whether they're Black, white, whatever, because it don't matter. Wrong is wrong, and if we can't call out wrong, then what are we doing? It's one of the problems why I think a lot of people, you know, can get conflicted about what's going on in America when it comes to the racial issues that we have. Right? We're quick to tell the police and other white people how wrong they are, but then when our own people are doing stuff, then everybody's got an excuse and a reason why we need to understand. If we're not going to be consistent, what are we doing?
said something powerful on Twitter, Kyla Janae Lacey, yesterday, that there's a lot of obsession over Diddy's sexuality and you know, coming down on him for being, you know, gay or whatever. And no, Diddy was trending at some point today and yesterday, but there's no outrage over on the predatory way in which he has allegedly done all these things to women, to Black women, to women. There's no outrage over that. It's just over him potentially being gay. That's the problem.
That's par for the course, right? We're supposed to accept that. Like, you know, we don't have autonomy, so it's okay to violate women. Like, I mean, it's even in, you know, religion doesn't always, you know, have consent in it, right? So it's like very much so socialized that consent is negotiable.
All right. this is where I'm gonna stop this video. I couldn't do no more after this. So they end this video, or I'm ending this video on them talking about the upset, how people are outraged more so about the fact that he might be a gay man as opposed to the things that he might have been doing with sex trafficking and all that stuff. And so, to me, whatever his sexuality is his sexuality. I think that's irrelevant. The biggest thing is what the feds went there for, right? The whole idea behind sex trafficking, and the whole idea that people aren't outraged about that. I don't think it's because people don't value women or people think women don't have a choice. I think it's because it's been normalized to sexualize women, right? So even if you think about the hottest female artists today, it's normalized that they sexualize themselves in their songs. They sexualize, and it almost seems like the greatest thing about them is about what they can do with their bodies. So it becomes less. I think it takes a little bit off. It takes a little bit of the sting off because we've already sexualized you and then expect you to be something. But I don't think it's because people think women should be able to be done anyway. I don't think that's it at all. I think it's the context. It's the context of him being this powerful man. And yes, he obviously abused some women, but there's probably just as many women who are glad to be abused. And I think that's part of the problem, because we live in this culture where there's a number and a price tag for the amount of abuse that you're willing to take. Right. You got sheiks flying people overseas, so that they can do weird things to them for a couple dollars. Right. So I think that's where that comes in. I don't think overall people are dehumanizing women. I think women are contributing to that by not putting a value on themselves so that others can respect what that value is. And I think we do that in the music. And again, with the way the internet works today, the Instagram models, and all of this stuff, I think it's distorted the, not every woman, but it's distorted, there's a certain category of woman that's been expected to be able to take something. I'll say it that way. But I just think, the video, obviously what Sean Diddy, P. Diddy is being accused of, horrendous crimes, and we'll see what the future holds on that. But it definitely points a big pin in his direction about some of the things that he's been doing. But it's almost, I won't say it's not surprising. It is surprising, but it's not surprising when you consider, just the way he's treated artists over the years, right? He's put artists in the bad deals that people talk about that they were getting back in the 60s and 70s, right? And then we made him the hero after 30 years of collecting checks off the publishing that he gave his artists their publishing back. Like, I've been collecting this for 30 years. You should be able to get 30 years. Yeah, but nobody's playing those songs anymore. So it's I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he's a good guy. I'm saying he's had some questions over the years, but I guess now is his time to tell the truth. What did Cat Williams say? That 2024 is the year of the truth. So I guess his truths are finally coming out, and we'll see where they land on this. But please, let's focus on the man and not put this on anybody else, because this is not anybody else's fault.